So I said I was going to call this my private blog to Christian men who are married. And well, maybe if you're not married, this will also help too. So, but I want to be specific for men because what I'm about to say, I think it's easy to be misunderstood by females, but hopefully it will be helpful to any male that might be watching. So there's some criteria. If you're not a Christian, this might not apply to you. And it has to do with the issue of struggling to cope with a wife that seems to be difficult. And what I believe the Holy Spirit allowed me to understand about having a wife that is strong or strong-willed. Now, let me just give some background first before I go into the revelation. Now, this is just background. This is not necessarily truth. This is just how I might have felt when I initially got married. Because when I was coming to the point of getting married, I'd spent a lot of time in the church, right? I'd spent from about 2002, maybe 2002, 2001. I'd not been in any relationship with anyone for a very long time. And yes, I did go into a relationship with somebody for 2005. From 2005 to about 2006, 2007, I was in an on and off relationship with an individual. However, after that, I was for the better part of 10 years, I was not in any relationship with anyone, right? Because I got married in 2018. So up until the point where I got married, for about 10 years, I had never kissed anyone. I'm not even sure if I held hand with someone. So over that period of time, most of that time was spent just laying the foundation for who I am today. That's another video. But you start to have this very fantastical thoughts about what a wife or who a wife would be. And the type of, you read the Bible and you see that kind of very submissive, anything that the man says these godly women they would do, right? You look at Abraham and Sarah, and Sarah calling Abraham Lord and all these things. So when you're not in a relationship, especially for a very long time, and your context for what to expect in a marriage is just strictly from the pages of the Bible, you're going to find that when you go into a marriage, especially in the northern hemisphere, I can't speak about what's happening in the Middle East and maybe some of those African countries or those nations that are male dominated. That means the patriarchy is in full effect. But in this hemisphere, I can tell you, if that's the idea going to a marriage with, you're going to have struggles, because I believe, based off what I've heard from other men, whether married or single, coming out of relationships, the submission thing, it's not in full effect, right? I mean, women are not just yes, whatever you say, they're going to do it. Even when you're saying the right thing, even when you believe to be 100% the right thing, they are still not, whether they are Christian or non-Christian, just going to say yes. So I started to have some challenges with it. I mean, I was having some serious challenges. And I'm going to tell you, even to this point, there are times I will still have challenges with it. But I'm going to share with you what the Lord laid on my heart. And I believe it's the Lord, because nowadays everybody say the Lord. And when you say it's the Lord, then nobody can question you, because you did say it's the Lord. So anybody question you can say, oh, but it's the Lord. What came to my mind, and Paul says we have the mind of Christ. So I'm assuming that the thought did not come from anywhere else but from the Lord. So I was having some serious issues with it, man. Serious issues, man. Feel as if, boy, I'm talking and wife is not listening, and she's so strong-willed, and she's so, and of course, some of these things I'm not condoning it. So I'm not here to say I'm condoning any wife that does not listen to her husband. But I'm just sharing something with you. So years into the marriage, this thought came to me once when I was at home alone. It pointed me back to the days when warriors used to ride into battle. They used to ride, so they have to have a horse, and they would ride into battle with a horse. So if they used to ride other things, I'm talking about the horses. And when these riders would choose a horse. They would not choose a meek, not use the word meek, but they'll not choose a weak horse. They'll not choose a horse that anybody can just do anything with the horse, or a horse that is easily intimidated. So if you watch those cowboy shows, I know cowboy shows are not very prominent now, but if you have exposure to cowboy lifestyle and watching cowboy shows, you'd realize that every now and then, if they want to show the bond between the cowboy and the horse, you'd find that most time these horses are very wild, and the horse would throw off the person who is trying to saddle it. And those horses, it seems like everybody would want to tame that horse, because a horse that is valiant, a horse that is not afraid, is the type of horse that somebody wants to go into battle, right? And the Lord begin to, I believe it's the Lord who begin to reveal to me that for the journey that I'm going to be on, He could not give me a wife that is a pushover. He couldn't give me a wife that as soon as somebody said, no, you can't do this, she's going to agree, right? So what I came to understand is that God didn't give me a weak wife, but I have to know how it is to get the power that she has to be used to propel me further, instead of spending all the time in the stage of trying to saddle the horse. And let me see if I can put that into a better context. Most of the time, what you find is that the strength of your wife, which should be used to be moving and clearing ways and telling people that no, he has to be on the flight, and no, but we did book that room, or no, but you were supposed to fix that fender, or those strengths, right, at times will manifest against you in the marriage, because God has given you somebody who is strong. God has given you somebody who is not a pushover, because a man who was a pushover for a wife will not be able to find her strength in the time when they are fighting battles, right? And the battles can be anything. It doesn't mean that the battle has to be against someone, but let's talk about even the weakness that we may have as men, right? Sometimes you need a strong wife who, well, for me, I would say that, let's say I'm not the most organized person or the most tidy person, right? You need a strong wife at times, not to say, hello, no, this can't work, I'm gonna cut. Maybe that's not the best illustration, maybe I'll cut that part out. But the thing is, you need strong people. Men need, especially this generation of men, need the strongest set of women that God can find to assist us in reaching our destination. And thought came to me, and I don't want to say it because sometimes it might put back the onus in our camp as men. Because you know you have some real terrible wives out there. We'll talk the truth. You have women who they can be used just like how the devil used men. Women are not exempt. So I'm not going to say every time there are issues, somehow the man must figure out what he's doing wrong. Look, man, you have wicked women out there. You have some terrible women. You have Jezebel, who was wicked in the Bible. You have another lady, Attila, who was wicked. You have women who were good, but they were deceived, such as Eve, such as Sarah, such as Rebecca, who deceived Isaac, such as Rachel, who took up Laban's idols and hid it under her foot when she was leaving. So the Bible shows that a lot of times women are not perfect. They make mistakes, right? They make mistakes, and some of the mistakes are some massive mistake. Herod's wife, quote unquote, the wife of his brother who he apparently took up, Herodas, she was the one who said chop off John the Baptist's head. And if we go on, we dig and we dig and we dig, we're going to find that there's a lot of Ahab and Jezebel. You're going to find that the Bible has a plethora of examples of women who, yeah man, them no normal, wicked people them, or they were deceived, and the man should have stand up and said, no, I'm not eating that fruit, no, I'm not going to sleep with the maid, no, you know, mommy, no, I'm not going to deceive my father and give him a stew, or, you know, no, I'm not going to take up any idols and hide and bring in the house, or no, I'm not going to kill neighbor over in vineyard, or no, I'm not going to chop off John the Baptist said. There were a lot of times men should have stood up to the woman that was in their life. Like Samson should have said, listen, no, you know, I'm leaving out of this place. You're toxic, you're evil, I'm not telling my secret, I'm going about my business. So there's a lot of examples of women who were negative and toxic. But in general, what I come to realize is this. The horse must be strong but meek. What that means is that you want a strong horse. I'm using horse and wives interchangeable, but please don't take that out of context. I'm just giving an illustration. Everybody wants a strong wife, but they want a meek wife. What that means is you don't want a pushover. You want a person who is willing to go into war with you. But if the horse is not broken, what does it mean? If the horse does never reach a stage where it gains confidence in its rider, the horse will never become meek. So the horse that is meek doesn't mean the horse is fearful or timid, because the horse still regains its strength. It still regains its tenacity. So it will ride into battle even when it sees a spear pointed at itself. It will go into battle because the rider is saying, go forward. So that's not a fearful horse. That's not a weak horse. What it is meek. That means it has given its strength to the rider. It has given itself fully over to the rider, and it's trusting the rider that we are going into this thing together. And if I fail, you fail, we fail together. Now the thing is, and I just got this morning, so I'm saying it, if you have made it this far in the video, sometimes we have never broken the horse. Sometimes we have never gone to the place where the wife has complete confidence in our guidance and leadership. And sometimes what's happening as men is we are failing to allow our wives to see the favor of God upon our lives. We are failing to make the wife say, listen, I'm going to ride with this person. You know, ride and die. I mean, I'm taking a worldly phrase to give an illustration. I don't know if the church has an term that best bring across the concept. You know the term called ride and die? That means wherever you're going, I'm going to go with you. Where you die, I'm going to die with you. So it's that concept that when a wife doesn't see the hand of God and the life of the man, sometimes she begins to lose confidence, which is not right. I'm not saying it's right, but I'm just saying that just like the horse. So sometimes it can be, and of course I'm not trying to throw the blame, because too many persons try to blame men for everything that goes wrong in a marriage. But in some cases, if you prayed about your wife, if God gave you the go-ahead that this is the woman, or while you were praying about it, nobody came and said, this is not the woman, right? So I'm not talking to the persons who the pastor get up and say, you know, I don't think this is your wife. Or some prophet or your mother or your father came and said, I really don't think this is the person for you. I think this is not the person for you, right? And I'm talking about spiritual leaders. Because sometimes spiritual leaders know that this might not be the best path. And if you go down the path, it is the path you choose. So you can't just walk out and say, well, the Lord say, you are not my husband. No, the minute you're getting married, the wife is your wife for life and the husband is your husband for life. So let me just finish by saying that, yes, we can't always complain that every time we say yes to our wives, they don't comply. And we can't always complain that, boy, we have a wife and she's stubborn. Because, as I said, if God is going to lead you somewhere great, He